The best rookie quarterback this preseason was a 4th rounder. Aiden O'Connell is buried on the Raiders depth chart, but he just showed that he seriously belongs in the pros. Aiden O'Connell was fantastic in the preseason. There may not be another player who raised his stock more than him. The Raiders played him a lot, and he was good. O'Connell ended up completing 69.4% of his passes for 482 yards and 3 touchdowns without a single interception. He didn't exactly flash this insane talent like we saw some guys do, like Dorian Thompson-Robinson or Malik Cunningham, but he consistently made the right decisions. He looked poised and like he honestly belonged in the NFL. But first, thank you to DraftKings for sponsoring today's video. College football is back, so grab your team's favorite jersey and hit the lots for some tailgating. Today, we're partnering with DraftKings with an offer that you're not going to want to miss. Download the DraftKings app now and use our code JDPROD. Any new users who bet $5 on any wager get $200 in bonus bets instantly. And you can stay in on the action and use your $200 in bonus bets on DraftKings parlays. Now, if sports betting is still not legal in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy, offering across all sports. Again, download the DraftKings app now. New users use code JDPROD and bet $5 on any wager and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. That's promo code JDPROD only at DraftKings. Thanks again to DraftKings, and let's get right back to the video. O'Connell has been making big-time throws all preseason. Look here against the Cowboys. This is just a gorgeous throw. O'Connell has trips right, and his lone receiver out to the left is Cam Sims. It looks like he's gonna run a little corner, and man, this throw. O'Connell puts it in the perfect spot, and Sims goes up over the defender to make the grab. I don't know how you're supposed to stop it. O'Connell looks so good here too. He looks right, and then he goes back and lets it go at the perfect time. It's a gorgeous play, and O'Connell just did that consistently. Now, let's go back to week 2 of the preseason. We gotta look at his deep ball here. It's 2nd and 16, and the Raiders have a long way to go, and they end up with a 40-yard gain. There's 3 wide receivers out, and O'Connell ultimately ends up going to Trey Tucker on the right side. He's able to get past the corner, and O'Connell makes the throw, fitting it right in between the corner and the safety. It's a good pass, and it goes for a much-needed gain. O'Connell just looks super fundamental here, and that's what he was all preseason, a very fundamental passer. He takes the drop, sets, and just delivers a beautiful ball. Later that game, again, here's some great pass placement that goes for a touchdown to Cam Sims. O'Connell sets and goes to Sims. He's really just got one guy on him with 2 closing in, and O'Connell again puts it in a great spot, and Sims goes up for it. It's another beautiful pass that just keeps giving you that feeling that he can be an NFL level quarterback. Next drive, and O'Connell throws another great pass for a touchdown. He leads Christian Wilkerson perfectly, who barely toe taps to stay in for the score. It's nothing truly flashy, but O'Connell has just consistently looked good, and maybe honestly that's because of time. You could say that Aiden O'Connell is a very experienced quarterback. He's going to be 25 years old before the season starts, and he's had quite the journey to the NFL. Aiden O'Connell went to Stevenson High School in Lincolnshire, Illinois. He played basketball and football and wasn't a very sought-after recruit, despite passing for a school record 2,741 yards and 26 touchdowns as a senior, but that literally was his only year starting. His only scholarship offer came from a Division II school. He did commit to play at a Division III program before he instead accepted a preferred walk-on spot at Purdue. O'Connell didn't play at all his first 2 years there. Then finally, he got a bit of a shot in 2019. He ended up passing for 271 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions in his first career start against Northwestern. O'Connell went 1-2 that season with 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns to 4 interceptions with a 62.8 completion percentage. Then he entered 2020 as the Purdue starter, but he suffered a season-ending injury just 3 games in. He went 2-1, completed 64.7% of his passes, and threw for 900 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. O'Connell began the following season as the backup to Jake Plummer, but eventually did take over starting duties and had a pretty good year. He finished with 3,700 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions while completing 71.6% of his throws and went 7-3. That ended up being the best year of his collegiate career. He was second team All Big Ten, and he was again in 2022 too. O'Connell in 7-5 had a 64.1 completion percentage and threw for 3,500 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. He entered the 2023 NFL draft, and he wasn't very sought after. He obviously had his issues, and honestly, he would have been drafted higher if he had just declared after his 2021 season. O'Connell's not a super athletic guy. It's kind of just how it is. Defenses aren't exactly going to have to worry about him running. He's a statue in the pocket sometimes, and he'd probably been more suited in the league a few decades ago. He has a really long release, and he won't get the ball off too fast. He also doesn't have a ton of zip. His deep balls have a lot of air under him, and when he does throw it on the run, he's a lot less accurate, but I guess everyone is. Plus, his arm isn't amazing, and he does struggle sometimes if he gets off rhythm. If he does get to settle in a bit though, he's great, especially when it comes to timing. He's just super accurate quarterback if he's on his own time. He anticipates really well, and a lot of that just has to do with his football IQ. He's smart and wants to air it out. He's got good vision, and he can move around the pocket if he needs to. He definitely does excel the most when it comes to short routes. He's able to get the ball out faster, and he's able to attack the defense horizontally and vertically. He may be more reliant on the short game than anything, but he has good instincts and could show some promise at the pro level. It sounds like the best case scenario was really just him being a backup over anything else in the league, but maybe that won't be the case after all. So O'Connell was clearly behind the top quarterbacks in the draft, but he was intriguing, and the Raiders sure did think so because they traded up in the 4th round to select him. There was a lot of speculation of whether or not Las Vegas was going to take a quarterback early in the draft. They obviously didn't, but they may have found a steal in Aiden O'Connell. The question now becomes when or if he'll get the chance to play. O'Connell is the 3rd quarterback on the Raiders depth chart right now. The starter in Las Vegas is Jimmy Garoppolo, who has been consistently good when he's been on the field, but injuries have been an issue for him for a long time. He broke his foot in week 13 last season, and there was even the worry this offseason that he may not pass a physical, but he did. Still, you have to wonder with his history if he will actually stay healthy. If he is healthy, I bet he'll be good, but who knows? If he gets hurt, that could really open the door for Aiden O'Connell to start, but he is still the number 3. That leaves one guy in between, Brian Hoyer. He's a vet, and he's been around the league. He's back together with Josh McDaniels, who was the OC with the Patriots when he was there. Hoyer signed this offseason, and there isn't really much upside to starting him. He's older, and everyone knows he isn't the future of the franchise, but Aiden O'Connell could legitimately be. Whether or not we see Aiden O'Connell this season really depends on just 2 things. The obvious is the health of Jimmy G, which is always in question. If he does get hurt, the Raiders have to go to Brian Hoyer or Aiden O'Connell. Yes, it's probably Hoyer right now, but I think that'll likely change during the season. By the end of the year, if Las Vegas is out of the playoff race or just straight up bad, maybe they want to see what they have in O'Connell. Now, Jimmy Garoppolo's 3-year, $72.75 million contract may complicate that a little bit, but the contract isn't necessarily as it seems. There is an out after the 2024 season without any dead cap, so really it might just be a 2-year deal. That could allow the Raiders to try to see if they have anything real in Aiden O'Connell. Las Vegas may actually be a solid spot for a young quarterback to try to develop. It's reasonable to think that the Raiders are going to rely on the run game more than anything like they did last year. Josh McDaniels is back, and Josh Jacobs is too. I wouldn't be surprised if he's just the bell cow and leads the offense every week. Then when it comes to the receivers, well, life's always going to be a little easier if you have Devontae Adams around. Then Jacoby Myers is in Las Vegas too, who's already played under Josh McDaniels. Finally, Hunter Renfrow would surely be a dog on those slant routes that Aiden O'Connell does so well with. Now look, the preseason is not the regular season, but Aiden O'Connell has looked about as good as you can for a 4th round rookie. And if for whatever reason, if the Raiders do need to look past Jimmy Garoppolo this season, I think it's going to be Aiden O'Connell getting his shot. And who knows, maybe he'll Drew Bledsoe Jimmy Garoppolo.